What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to talk to you about Warhammer 40K. And boy, do we have an overwhelming amount of things to talk about. First and foremost, the codices for the Necrons and the Space Marines are out for pre-order, um, and there just has been tons of information flowing, and pretty much the books have been completely laid out. And wow, the Necrons, I don't even know where to begin. There's just so much to unpack. So I'm going to start with my favorite units from the book, and in general, my favorite unit in all of the Necron lore, that of the C'tans, the ancient star gods made Pokemon, but now they're back to being gods. Their stat line is insane. When we saw the preview for the Void Dragon, we noticed that he can't lose more than 3 wounds, and on top of that, they can regenerate. And that is the case for all of them, not just the Void Dragon. And whew, these guys are serious contenders to be probably the strongest units in the game currently. Will the other codices keep up this power creep of, being awesome badasses? I don't know, because it's hard to beat the Necrons right now. So let's start off by talking about probably the strongest model I believe in the game, and that is the C'tan Shard of the Nightbringer. So in editions previous, C'tan weren't really used very much. They didn't really synergize with the playstyle of the army. They were just kind of beat sticks to throw out there, and that didn't really do very well. Yeah, they were good, but they weren't great. Now they're phenomenal. So to represent this awesome change, the freaking Nightbringer is just deadly. He used to be about 160 points back in 8th edition, if I am correct, and he pretty much doubled that. He is now a 350 point monster. Yes, it is taking a chunk out of your points for the army, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. Why? Well, let's take a look. So before even going into the stats or anything like that, this dude has an ability that lets him bypass invulnerable saves, and if that's not nasty enough, he can also bypass damage reducing abilities. So let's say you're playing against orcs and you see Gaskell. You know that he has an ability similar to C'tan, where he can't lose, I believe, more than 3 or 4 wounds per turn. Ignored. This dude can just go in there and bypass that. He is going to be a character killer, and at the same time, the Nightbringer can also take down other C'tan, because all C'tan have the ability where they can't lose more than 3 wounds per phase. This dude ignores that. He's going to be doing damage regardless of what you have to stop him, and it's nasty. Because of that, I think he can probably go toe-to-toe with like Demon Primarchs, Guilliman, like I said, other C'tan. It's very difficult to think of a unit that can take him down. So because of that, just that alone is well worth the 350 points, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, the challenge is actually getting him in combat to do this, but I think you could do that. I definitely think it's a possibility to get him in combat to make up his point cost. Now, in previous editions, he had the Gaze of Death ability, which was good, but now he got that replaced with an ability that basically just picks a target, and then you roll 3d6. On any 4-up, meaning half the time, you're just going to be doing straight D3 mortal wounds. So think about that. You roll a bunch of dice. Potentially, you could be doing 9 damage. 9 mortal wounds. That's crazy. Now, obviously, at the minimum, you're only doing 3 mortal wounds. But still, though, like, if the dice gods are in your favor, you're going to be doing a bunch. And that's just his ability. Not counting the powers of the C'tan, which, when you look at the powers of the C'tan, they're similar to the ones from 8th edition, but still, there's clearly better ones. I believe Transdimensional Thunderbolt and the Antimatter Meteor are looking to be like the go-tos, the easiest ones to get mortal wounds off of. So he can still do things at range. So as you're trying to get into close combat, because that's where he shines, you can still chip mortal wounds off of enemies. Now looking at their stat line, they each have 9 wounds, which again is great because of the whole not being able to target. They have toughness 7, and they got that Necrodermis rule, which we saw previewed for the Void Dragon. So a 4 up invuln, and they can't lose more than 3 wounds per phase. Again, I mentioned how crazy good that was in the video about the Void Dragon, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll put it at the end of this video so you can see the glory of the Void Dragon. But yeah, for the most part, that's going to be the same thing all across for all Catan. So toughness 7, 9 wounds, 4 up invuln, and that awesome, sweet Necrodermis rule. Meaning, they're going to be alive for a long time, potentially the whole game. Yeah, they're going to be a huge chunk of your army, but if your opponent is spending all his turn just trying to take out the Catan, that leaves the rest of your army to move about, get objectives, and take out the enemy. So, do you think this is worth it for potentially 350 points? Probably. Maybe if you don't want to spend that much, don't go with a named Catan, like the Deceiver, the Nightbringer, the Void Dragon. You can still go for the generic one, the Transcendent Catan? Yeah, Transcendent Catan. You can go with that one. So speaking about the powers of the Catan, those can't be used if they fall back or advance, so it's kind of a give and take. Do you want to try and get mortal wounds off the enemy while you move up the board, or do you forgo that to roll an advance roll and potentially move up there quicker? So a little something to think about. Obviously, if you're in the backfield, I'd say forgo it and just try to move up as fast as possible. It depends on your playstyle, who you're fighting against, but it's something to think about. Yeah, sorry this video is kind of all over the place. It's just Catan. I love him. I love the lore, and I'm excited, and there's like a lot of things I want to talk about, and it's all just like bum rushing my head. But going back to the Nightbringer, this dude is crazy because when you look at what he can do in combat, potentially he can throw out 12 strength 7 AP -3 D1 attacks. So if you're getting kind of tar pitted by a bunch of like troops or Gretchen or anything like that, you can easily take them all out. 12 strength 7 attacks, yeah. And if you're getting tar pitted, they're not going to be strong. They're just basically there to hold you in combat. So that AP -3, that's going to be cleaving through any type of save they have. One damage per attack. Yeah, I mean, if it's Space Marines, you're not going to be killing as much, but still, like, I didn't expect 12 attacks to be at like damage D3 or something like that. That would just be insane. But I mean, they are godlike, so yeah, they're powerful, just not overpowered. At least that's my opinion of them. Now, of course, like most Catan, he has 2 modes of attacking. So that's if you're going against hordes. If you're going against something tough and durable, you have a strength 14, AP -4, D6 damage that I was mentioning earlier can bypass invulns and abilities that stop damage. So that's how you take out the big things, with your strength 14 D6 damage attack. Oh man, that's just nasty. Just think about it. What are you gonna do against these Catan? I honestly don't know just yet. It's too early to call, but yeah. I definitely see the Nightbringer being used pretty often, followed by probably the Void Dragon, and then of course the Deceiver will probably be the last one. Unless you still want to play with the whole like Grand Delusion ability, which lets you like redeploy and whatnot. So if you're trying to be more tricky, the Deceiver's your go-to. If you're going more power, I'd still go ahead with the Nightbringer over the Void Dragon, but don't count the Void Dragon out. Still a new model, it looks cool, so. But yeah, speaking about the Deceiver, let's just go ahead and talk about him. He can deep strike, which is pretty cool. Place him wherever you need him to be placed, and hopefully you get that charge roll, because looking at his abilities and whatnot, I still say Catan in general shine in melee. So that's probably the best position for him to be at. Besides this, he's okay. um, he doesn't really do that much compared to like the Nightbringer. He's got attacks, 3 attacks that deal potential 5 damage, which is good, but I mean, he's a lot easier to like not really see him as a threat. It's a lot easier to tar pit him, like I said, where the Void or the Nightbringer can just mow them down. He doesn't really have that type of option. So again, he's pretty much only good for like gimmicks and the Grand Illusion thing, but still, he's got access to the powers of the Catan, and he can still, do okay in combat. Like I said, I had a whole video talking about the Void Dragon, so check that out after this video is over. And lastly, what I want to say is that Catan are really good, and in order to combat Catan spam, because easily you could just play like the Void Dragon and the Nightbringer and be pretty much unstoppable. You could only take 1 per detachment, which it makes sense. You don't want to bog the game down, or I mean, obviously if you're playing for fun, bring all of the Catan and just have like a war against like the Catan shards, because that'd be pretty awesome. Maybe if you have like the Demon Primarchs and Guilliman against the 3 named Catan to see who would come out on top. I still think the Nightbringers got it. We have to wait until the codices come out for like the Thousand Suns, the Plague Marines, the Death Guard, to see how they stack, because I'm pretty sure they're going to get the same ability where they can't lose more than a certain amount of wounds per turn or per phase. But again, the Nightbringer just ignores that, so definitely he is target priority number 1. I've rambled long enough. I have like bullet points and everything, but it's like I was going from like one to the other, so it didn't come out as structured as I wanted to. But yeah, that's my excitement for the Catan. Let me know what you guys think about the Catan in general. I know a buddy of ours, he plays Necrons, and he's had a Catan of the Nightbringer for a few editions now, so I definitely expect to see it more often. However, I don't expect to see it every game, because I know he tends to play more synergy and strategy, and the Catan is basically just a big beat-em-up beat stick. So again, let me know your thoughts on the Catan. Are they too strong? Are they too expensive? Too powerful? And yeah, let me know how you expect to see them or beat them on the battlefield in 9th edition. Yeah, stay subscribed for more things 40K, because we still have a lot to talk about for both the Space Marines and the Necrons, and I'll be seeing you guys later on. But before I go, I just want to remind you that this is October, Spooktober. We will be putting out horror type videos as well as some creepypastas, so stay tuned for that as well. And as always, this has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I will be catching you guys in the next one. Peace.